If Barack Obama had had his way, and as he put it, returned America to the moral high ground in the so-called war on terror, the internment camp at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba would now be just about closed. It's not happened. But one of the guards who was there has made his own pilgrimage back to the moral high ground. Last night, you may have seen how he contacted two British men who'd been prisoners there to apologise for his part in what had happened. That contact took place over the internet. We asked the three men if they'd be prepared to meet again face to face. They said yes. Gavin Lee reports on what happened next.
It's one of the unlikeliest of reunions. 8 years ago, three men met at what rapidly became the world's most notorious prison. Back then, Brandon Neely was a 22-year-old soldier dedicated to protecting his country in the wake of 9/11. These two British men were among the first detainees to arrive in those infamous orange jumpsuits. Last year, Brandon contacted them over the internet to express his remorse for the 2.5 years they spent at Guantanamo. Now they're all about to meet again, face to face. We've arranged for the three men to be reunited here in London. It's a very different setting to the last meeting at Guantanamo Bay 8 years ago. Then Shafiq, Rasul and Ruhal Ahmed were branded terrorist suspects, the worst of the worst, and Brandon Neely was their guard. Now they're coming face to face again, and none of them knows quite what to expect.
It's mixed emotions, like, you don't know how to feel.
Coming towards it now, I do feel a bit nervous. I don't know why, but I am feeling a bit nervous about it.
It's something I've thought about hundreds and hundreds of times, and I don't know how it's going to happen, what's going to happen there, but I'm excited to see, and hopefully some good will come out of this whole situation.
Hi. You right?
Yeah, how y'all doing?
All right. Not bad.
Long time since I've seen you.
Yeah. You've looked different without a cap.
Oh, big difference. Y'all look different throwing jumpsuits too.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Shall we take a seat, guys? Just to get an idea what it's like just seeing each other in a room and walking in, seeing each other after all this time.
It's quite weird because, the last time I met Brandon I was behind the cage and he was on the other side. And now we're sitting, shook hands, and now we're sitting right in front of me. It's so surreal, do you know what I mean? It's like odd feeling.
What about for you, Brandon?
Same thing, it's pretty weird. Like we were outside, 7, 8 years ago, they were word guard and detainee, and here they're telling me that all these guys in orange jumpsuits are the world's most dangerous men, and here I am, a couple feet away from two of the guys that I was told would just, kill me if I turned my back on them in a heartbeat. And 7 years later, here we are sitting on the couch together.
Do you want to tell Shafiq and Ruhal a little bit about why you're here now?
I am really sorry for the way, one, for you even getting caught up in the whole situation, the way you were treated there when I was there. And I'm just as guilty as the people there, because I took part in a lot of stuff that happened, locking, putting you in the cages or whatever. But me personally, I'm really sorry for what happened there. And I wish I would have never took part in it, but I did, and I'm man enough to say I'm sorry for what happened.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Brandon to come out all the way here to say sorry to us. It means so much to us. I can't explain it in words how much it means to us, but I don't hold you responsible for what happened to me. You were there to do a job, and you had to do that job. When people like yourself come out and basically say the same things that we were saying, it helped us so much for people to believe what we were saying was true. So I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart what you've done.
I completely agree with you, Shaf, and it's the government that needs to really apologise. You don't need to apologise, Brandon. It's not your fault. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you've come out and you've said sorry, and I appreciate that.
Do you know much about the reasons that they have given for why they were there?
I can just remember, we were at a wedding in Pakistan, then went to Afghanistan to get aid, and was captured from there and ended up in Guantanamo.
Do you want to explain a bit to Brandon what happened?
Yeah, as I told you, before, 8 years ago, I don't know how, do you remember? The initial thing was we actually went for Asif's wedding, and he was in Bravo block, in the same block as him, and we had about three weeks to his wedding, so his father was arranging the wedding, so we decided to go on tour. So our main reason was to go to Afghanistan was for just to go on sightsee, really, and for smoke some dope. Yeah, that was the main reason. We got into Afghanistan the day we got in there. That's when the bombing started. The Northern Alliance came, they sent foreign people, arrest everybody, and they put us in prison. And eventually they sold us to the Americans, for $35,000 each. And that's how we ended up in Guantanamo. We were sold for bounty, basically. And it was the case for the majority of the detainees in Guantanamo.
I mean, you were caught in a Taliban stronghold,
Yeah.
and people would say it's an unlikely story, to say the least. What do you say to that?
People will say that. I mean, there's millions of people who probably still say it, but at the end of the day, if I was guilty of a crime, or if Shafiq was guilty of a crime, we wouldn't be sitting here today, and we was released without any charge. If we was really a threat to this world, to America especially, there would be no way that we would be released.
The story they've given, what do you make of the position they put themselves in?
It's just wrong place, wrong time, And I know a lot of people don't use that are guilty use the same thing, but, it's been proven that they had nothing to do with it.
By now, the men seem to be relaxing around each other.
I can remember seeing you, your face. I recognise you, but I can't really remember talking about certain things because it's been such a long time. But I know for a fact that once you gave me Skittles on the sly. Yeah, I can remember that clearly. And I can remember that you used to always wear your cap really low, but you had to look up to look at it. So I can remember that. That's for sure.
The reunion appeared to be going well, but Brandon was about to make a confession that threatened to change all that. There was a moment in Guantanamo that you say you were ashamed of your own behaviour. Do you mind telling us about what you did?
On the first day of Alpha Block, how come on the buses, go through in process, and they'd be like, all right, take them to Alpha, whatever. There was a guy on Alpha Block, an older detainee. You might remember him. We take him to the cell, put him on his knees in Alpha Block. We start yelling, don't move, and the interpreter's yelling at him, don't move, supposedly. So he goes in again to take the handcuffs off. When he did, the detainee jerked. And when he did, I slammed him face first into the ground and got on top of him. And then the IRF team pulled me out. And I can remember coming back on the block the next morning, like the whole left side of his face being all scraped up. And I was talking to somebody in Alpha Block a couple weeks later. I can't remember who it was. And they told me the whole reason he was scared was because, remember, when you put on your knees, take your stuff off, you still had the goggles on. So when we put him on his knees, he thought he was going to be executed because he had family members executed in the same manner in his country. And that was the whole reason he fought like that. So that was just, it really felt horrible.
What do you make of that?
I think that is not your fault. I think it's more the fault of the translators that they used to have there. Because I used to listen to some of them translating and I think, hang on, he's not even said that. He said something completely different.
What do you think, Ruhal?
I'm speechless, man.